Dubai builds a Robocop. Renewable energy for Dutch trains. The future of farming and more. Today is June 13th and you're watching the Innovation Report highlights. Hey everyone, it's Najeeb and let's just jump right into it. Did you ever watch Robocop?
Shit.
Whether it's the original one or the new one.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Well, it looks like Dubai is actually creating the world's first Robocop and making it more commercialized. The 5-foot, 5-inch robot is going to be equipped with facial recognition technology and the ability to broadcast live video feeds. So what Dubai is trying to do is really take a lot of its resources and invest in building the city for the future. So one thing that they're doing is investing in autonomous cars with blockchain technology, something that we covered in the previous innovation report. And now they're going to be using robots, and their intention is to have 25% of the police consisting of these robots by 2030. Now, if you think about the future of robots, the residents of Dubai will not only be able to report crimes, but also pay fines and ask the robot questions. Now, the one challenge is as robots start to become more mainstream, the biases that robots will learn from humans, because after all, the machine program and the natural language capabilities of robots is going to be coming from humans. So the one challenge is making AI impartial. Joanna Bryson out of the University of Bath was able to prove that AI and robots, artificial intelligence, can actually have prejudice. And it's not only that, but they can also detect a sense of racism and sexism. The challenge is, how do you actually maintain a level of fairness for the robots? Because you don't want them to have any sort of prejudice, nor judgment, nor racism or sexism. And as humans are more prone to that, as we've seen in the author Malcolm Gladwell's book Blink, what ends up happening is with robots, one of their best benefit is really to automate the job and really do it without any sort of bias. Now that's going to be the challenge that any organizations building artificial intelligence with robots are going to be facing. Well, it looks like all of Dutch trains is running on renewable energy. Now, the plan was initially to have this in motion by 2018. However, because they are so far ahead of schedule, all of Dutch trains as of the January this year in 2017, all of Dutch trains are actually running on renewable energy. Now, the renewable energy is largely coming from wind and solar. Now, there are currently 2,200 wind turbines. That's enough to power 2.4 million homes. At the same time, the amount required to power 2.4 million homes is the same amount to power the Dutch trains. And that's what they're doing. In partnership with Eneco, a Dutch energy company, 1.2 billion kilowatts of energy is able to consumed by the trains and be provided by the renewable resources. The renewable energy capacity last year was 161 gigawatts, which is a 10% increase than the year before. Now, as this starts to grow exponentially, as more and more countries and cities and states are starting to adopt this and the price gets lower, the reliant on other sorts of fossil fuel, as we're starting to see, is starting to decrease drastically. Let's talk about farming next. If you've ever worked on a farm, you know that it is somewhat of a backbreaking job. Now, what ends up happening is as you're starting to get your harvest, you have to bend over and pull. What ends up happening is for farming, especially in large-scale production, for workers, it ends up aching their back over a long period of time. In addition to this, if you combine the labor shortage, what ends up happening is the reduction in yield for farmers. However, in the Salmonella Valley south of San Francisco, robots are actually helping to increase the yield for farmers. The robots are able to use water knives. It's basically high pressure water to cut lettuce. What ends up happening is the autonomous robots are able to not only cut the lettuce but also pick it up and working in conjunction with humans to really process it. And what ends up happening is because humans are touching the lettuce and products less, there's less contamination. As there is a labor shortage as well as a changing in population, the demographic is starting to grow older. And what ends up happening is because there aren't enough younger people joining the workforce, the farmers are at capacity and they're struggling to meet up with demand. So what these robots are able to do is actually increase yield significantly. Now, since the world population could balloon to 10 billion by 2050, the production and maintenance of not only livestock but also agriculture is going to be in high demand. In addition, you're starting to see more and more tech companies start to work and partner with farmers to help increase their yield. This will not only increase in the short term, but also help in the long term as well. So what do you think? Do you agree with Taylor Farms in the Salmonella Valley using robots to increase yield for farming? Or do you prefer not having robots and getting humans? Let me know in the comments below. Well, that's it for the Innovation Report highlights this week. If you want the full Innovation Report, click on the link below or head on over to bigcreate.com. Over there, you'll also find a free copy of my upcoming business innovation book. You can find us on YouTube and iTunes every week, as well as the social channels. I'm Najeeb, that's it, and I'll see you next week.